Out there, well wishers, those of you who are looking at us live on television, those of you who are looking at us online, you can find us on YouTube. Just type in Dr. Joseph Haynes and you will find us live coming over to you right now. And I don't know, Dr. Richard, welcome to the program.
Thanks for the invite.
It's already the end of May.
Wow. Yeah.
It seems like the last time we spoke was like Easter. It seems like
Yeah,
that.
I think so. Mm,
Closing for Easter, but now school is closing for summer. It's going so fast.
yeah.
It seems like someone up there is turning the clock.
They're pedaling the bicycle.
Yeah, something is making everything go too fast, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm running.
Yep. Anyhow, welcome to the program once again, and we're live. Today we want to touch some serious topics on memory and dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. I've been seeing so many persons younger and younger who are afflicted by these conditions.
Hmm.
At one time, we used to think that it's something that happens to people as they age, as they get older.
True.
But now it's happening to anyone, and it's crazy. It's mind blowing, mind boggling. Because something is responsible, or some things are responsible, and we need to touch on those and try to get persons to those who care to
Hmm.
do something about reversing the onslaught of those conditions that affect the brain. I am convinced that the brain is the end result of uh, insufficiency, one way or another, or uh, contamination that leads to most of these memory conditions or these conditions that has to do with the central nervous system. And I really, I really believe so. I really am convinced that the the toxins, the mercury, the mycotoxins, the chemicals getting into the brain through the bloodstream are creating havoc on the humans. We're seeing it every day. We cannot we cannot eliminate the fact that we have to check for toxins in persons on a daily basis as we screen,
Hmm.
because that is the foundation of a lot of problems. But persons don't know. They're not aware. They're not even thinking that they have those things in them. We can talk about things like anxiety and depression and autism and ADHD and bipolar disorders and the numbness that people experience, the spasms, all of these conditions. They're linked pretty much to mercury, to microelements, to toxins, and it's becoming. I guess it is becoming more and more present and prevalent in society because of the fact that people are consuming foods that are laden with those elements. I don't know what your take is on that.
Yeah, it's true. Uh, I mean, I'm more and more I'm seeing things. I'm coming to the understanding that we are basically most of the disorders that we experience in diseases and so forth are because of food poisoning. The food, they're contaminated with all sorts of, as you say, microelements, um, lead, mercury, and so forth. We're exposed to a lot of things that are in food, especially processed foods, because these chemicals are, you know, very much used heavily in processed foods, and we're consuming it. We're consuming this food, so before we even eat the food is already poisonous. And as we consume it in your poor body, a lot of times, many a times, uh, we our bodies are not, especially people who are trying to be healthy. We don't have a lot of these things in us, but we are constantly placing them in our systems by eating food, and food that we think that are supposed to be healthy, but they're really poisoning
Mhm.
systems. Um, as you mentioned, I was listening to a program yesterday, and they were talking about, remember Bruce Lee, right?
Oh yeah, Bruce.
Bruce Lee, yeah, powerful, right? Powerful physique and really superhuman strength and all these different things. But they went back and they were looking at a couple of things. Uh, they went and looked and see exactly why is it that a person's so healthy, you know. And he really pushed the envelope of human, you know, physical strength and endurance and all that. He went beyond.
Hmm.
How would a person like that, we would think, should be really healthy, right? And he talked about eating healthy and so forth. But then what they found was a lot of lead and mercury was in the system. And the question is, where did that come from? And what they're saying is that, and this is changing the whole thing about how we died. These elements are present in poisonings, you know. So if you're poisoned, a lot of times these heavy metals are part of that poison. So that really, changes things. But if for example, if you're eating healthy, supposedly, right, and supposedly the meal is, you're eating nice fish, right, salmon and things like that, eating very good freshly caught fish and seafood and things like that, and you're growing your own chicken and things like that. Uh, these things already come with a lot of things that hinder our health. The parasites. Somebody asks where these worms are coming from. The worms are living in the flesh, right? And you consume that, then you're consuming, parasites. So it has to, it all boiling down everything. It all has to do with your food,
Yeah,
you know.
I raised that concern with someone yesterday about the worms and parasites that are laden in the fish,
Hmm.
and his answer to me was they don't have them in frozen fish.
Oh, well,
So I responded back to him. So you think?
yeah,
So you think? He said they don't have them in frozen fish.
it is.
Many persons are of the belief that if you freeze something, um, you're gonna kill everything.
Yeah, you freeze it to death.
You're gonna kill all the bacteria and all the metals and all the heavy metals and mycotoxins. And if you freeze it, you're gonna kill them. You're gonna destroy them. People are, seriously, people are of the belief that frozen foods do not contain chemicals and metals.
Well, where does it go when you freeze it? Let me ask. I would ask a question. If you have water in a cup and you freeze it, does it disappear?
Well, what's gonna happen is that you might see to the bottom.
Water?
You're gonna see the chemicals and the rust and everything. If you put it in a clay receptacle, you're going to see all the unwanted items out of the water at the bottom.
Yeah, everything's. I mean, you can freeze. You can freeze chicken.
The water doesn't go
You
away.
can freeze. You can freeze any
It
meat
doesn't go away.
anywhere.
The chicken is
Uh,
still there when you freeze it.
the bacteria is there still.
It's all there.
Uh, the worms are there still. The eggs are there still. They're
There,
not.
the larva is.
Larva's there. Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't kill the larva.
It's suspended animation. It's just winter for the thing, but they survive.
What happens sometimes is that when you freeze these parasites, they lay eggs before they're frozen.
And the eggs are able to withstand
Of
anything.
course, they withstand the temperature.
Yeah, yeah,
So you get more worms when you freeze it,
yeah.
but you might not see them. But when you eat them, they're going to manifest inside of you. Trust
Hmm.
me, they're going to be there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can freeze anything. You can even cook it, burn it. It still survives.
What it does, it preserves things. Freezing preserves, but it doesn't get rid of.
No, it
So
doesn't kill it. You know, and that's the whole process of uh, cryogenics. And suspended amination. They call it suspended animation or something like that.
animation, yeah,
Yeah, those things. When you start tawing the fish, them things they come alive again.
of course, of course, they suspend themselves during the temperature, and then it's like the trees in the winter.
Yeah,
When the winter comes and the cold hits the trees, what happens? The sap goes down and it goes down on the bottom, and it's
they look
there.
like they're dead. They lose all the leaves and everything.
Yeah, it's not dead. It's not gone, but
It's
it's
still
there.
alive.
When the temperature gets back, they come right back and they're
Hmm.
blooming and bearing fruits and everything.
Yeah, they
So
don't die. So
I
it's the
think
same with the worms
I think what
and
what needs to
parasites.
happen, what needs to happen more is that people need to genuinely do research more. They need to read and educate themselves more if they're concerned about their health and what they eat and the
Hmm.
conditions that they may have. And they need to become more aware of what is possible to exist in the produce or in the food that we're buying, that we put in our systems. Because when we eat those foods, lots of things happen inside.
Hmm.
And those foods can either become beneficial or they could become harmful. And for the most part, the chemicals that are in there, we absorb the chemicals. We see it every day.
Yeah,
You know,
you do. It's in the system. I mean, where can it go? Whatever you put inside of you, it stays in you, man.
unless you eliminate
Unless
some of it.
exactly, you got to detox it to eliminate it and things like that. And I wish we were like, well, I don't wish that, but the concept that people have is that we are just static. Whatever you put in you, it keeps and sustain your health, but then it doesn't do anything else to harm you. But that's not the case.
No,
That's not the case.
by no means. By no means.
You know.
It's like a secret, a dirty secret
Hmm.
that is kept from people because it's hardly talked about. It's hardly thought of. Most persons don't think of
Hmm.
linking foods to diseases. It's becoming more and more prevalent in the society, and more doctors and more therapists are learning and are teaching that. But
Hmm.
the average person is totally unaware
Hmm.
that the foods that we consume are the foods that are killing us. They're
It is.
hurting
Yeah.
us. They're damaging our bodies. When I look at Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease and dementia,
Hmm.
um, I did some studies on those some time ago, and it's all linked. all linked. All of it is linked to what happens to the brain.
Mm-hmm.
All of it is linked right there in what we feed the brain, how the brain functions. What happens when the brain receives mercury or lead and these microelements and too much calcification. You know,
Mm-hmm.
People are of the belief that if their bones are hurting, they must take calcium.
Mm-hmm.
Many persons I would ask them, well, are you taking your minerals? Yeah, I take calcium.
Not just calcium.
You know, and if the body does not absorb the calcium, where does it go?
It
You know,
stays there and it creates problems.
it gets into your bloodstream, it lines those arteries and vessels, and they become narrow.
Yeah, call it make pavement, like make hard
Exactly.
pavement.
And then we are living in a society where we fry everything and we use fats everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
We are cooking foods and we're drowning them in fats, and we believe that it will taste better when we fry it, or it is better for us when it tastes good, you know, versus using a mechanism that does not allow for fats to be consumed in excess. We need fats, we need some fats, but we are consuming just too much fats and too much of the wrong fats. You see, so when we use the calcium that is not absorbed in the bloodstream, when we use the excessive amount of fats, when we use the foods that contain mercury, lead, and mycotoxins, what are we doing to our bodies? We are creating the path for destruction. And I've always said that we dig in our graves with our teeth and we're eating ourselves into our graves.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and that's exactly pretty much what we're doing. We're eating foods that are destroying our body system, and then it's not the fact that you're going to die at some point, but it's the punishment. It's
Yeah,
the torture.
poisoning your system.
You
But
know,
you're not aware of it.
I was told this morning that a young lady died in Guyana. She was only in her 20s, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and she died, I think, this morning. Um, they're not sure what she died from, but she had she had some illnesses that were pronounced, and I screened her at one time late last year, about the middle of last year,
Mm-hmm.
and I still have the report. When I screened her, we discovered an enormous amount of worms in her. I think there were 14 different types.
Wow.
And then we found that she had lots of mercury and lead in her system. Mercury, lead, and microelements loaded with everywhere, all of our organs. All of the organs pretty much had it because we can check to see which organs are affected by those chemicals and metals.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think she believed it, or
Well,
I don't think her family believed it.
she didn't do anything about what you told her.
So she continued uh, to follow the path that they had her on, and I think she came to America to get an opinion here just this year,
Mm-hmm.
and still um, none of that, as far as I know, was addressed. Okay, so I got the call that she was hospitalized 2 days ago. Days ago. Bear in mind, I saw her last year about maybe February. So it's been
Mm-hmm.
over a year and a half, pretty much, that I saw her, and I pointed those things out to her. I said to her, I says, you need to clean yourself up. You're having these issues. I'm not saying these are the only factors that are contributing to your issues, but they are a major factor because look, they're all over your body.
Wow.
And you need to fix this because you're losing weight, you're losing your nutrients, and you don't know where it's going. Well, it's going to the parasites. The parasites are consuming your nutrients. I don't think she believed it.
Mm.
And this morning I got the call that she passed. 2 days ago I heard she was hospitalized, and this morning she passed.
Oh boy.
And I'm quite sure that it was never addressed. You know, we say to people that when we screen you, at least I say that, I know you do it too. When we screen you, it's not that we're telling you what is wrong with you. Your body,
It's pointing out.
your body is pointing out to us what we need
Hmm.
to tell you, what we need to reveal to you,
Hmm.
so that you will know what you need to do to fix it.
Hmm.
I don't think they understand that. I think people. Um, I guess if we had a chamber, a big chamber that they have to go down, lay down inside and go in there, and then we would screen them the same way and give them those videos, maybe they'll believe it. But because the device is so
Wow.
simplified, maybe they don't believe it. I don't know. But she
Mm.
died and she left a boy that is 5 years old.
Oh boy.
She had one son.
Mm.
Um, she was married. I think they were going through some type of separation because of the fact that she was always ill. Well, when I learned that she was in hospital um, 2 days ago, I said to the person who told me, I don't think she's going to make it because I think she was feeding out of an NG tube.
Oh no.
She was at that stage and she's not, wasn't receptive, wasn't
Mm.
responding. So when I heard that, I knew pretty much that was the end of her. I mean, miracles do happen, but you know, I don't think she did. I believe, seriously, if she'd followed the protocol of removing
Mm-hmm.
you can to remove those chemicals, metals, mycotoxins out of your system.
Detox the worm.
Deworm, detoxify, and deworm. That is so key. You know, if she had done that, we don't know if she would have survived, but I know she would have lived longer
Mm-hmm.
because the parasites were just eating her life away, eating her flesh away, eating her body, and she wasn't really consuming much.
What was it that she used to eat? A lot of fish, chicken, beef.
All of those things,
Mm-hmm.
all of those things, and we keep saying to people that um, change your diet. Listen to your body system. If it is pointed out to you that you need to avoid these foods, it's
Mm-hmm.
happening because they're affecting your body system. And
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to get better until you refrain from consuming those items. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think they buy it. Oh, what am I going to eat? Oh, Dr. Haynes, this is, you're punishing me. No, I'm not. It's your body telling you that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not coming out of me. It's coming out of my mouth, but it's your body who pointed it out to me to tell you.
And we're letting you know, but it's you have to follow it. You know, it's up to you.
It's up to you. We cannot spoon feed you. We cannot um, make you do anything that you don't want to do. But all we can do is point out to you what we think your body is saying is best for you to do. And
Mhm.
those who follow, Dr. Richard, I can say it over and over. Those who follow gets the results.
True. It's very very true.
Those who don't follow, they end up wherever they end up, and most times it's death. You know.
And some people like to follow with their own thing. You know,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
tell them to use this, they want to use that. You tell them to use B, they want to use C. Yeah, you know,
The
it's.
biggest question is, what am I going to eat? What am I going to eat? Well, I mean, if your body is telling you don't eat fish, you have H. pylori bacteria, you have
Mhm.
gastroenteritis, you have salmonella, you have A and B salmonella, you have all these things happening to your body, and your body is saying to you, avoid fish and
Mhm.
avoid flesh. You have all these parasites all over your system. Avoid flesh. Your body is saying that to you. You're going to say, well, I don't see shrimp on there. I don't see lobster. I don't. I don't see crab.
Or sardine, you
Oh,
know,
I don't see tuna.
or tuna.
Tuna is
Yes.
one of the biggest culprits for mercury.
Well, yeah, you can it and it's in there.
It's in there.
It's in there. You know,
You know.
all of those things are in there. It's, you know, I think people really need to understand that. like you said, we are not the ones. Like one patient said, she's tired. She was very tired going to. She went to many doctors, and everyone has an opinion about what's wrong with her. And she goes to Doctor A, and Doctor A has his opinion, and based on his opinion, he gives her a protocol. She follows it. She doesn't get better.
Mm-hmm.
She goes to Doctor B. Doctor B has another opinion, quite different than Doctor A, and then she follows it and didn't get any better. Same thing. Went to Doctor C. He has a different opinion than everybody else, and every time she's getting hopeful, but then after trying, the situation still remains the same. So my response to her is like, listen, I'm not going to give you an opinion. The opinion that you're going to leave here with is what your body is telling you
Mm-hmm.
wrong with you.
Yes.
You know, and not only is it telling, it's telling in a way in which you will see, as well as I am, will see what is wrong. You know, and it's right before you. So when I go through the process, they're able to see it. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times, and I'm getting older, and I'm realizing it's the truth. And even Jesus, the Creator, used it. Simple means it's a simple thing, very simple. It's nothing complex, but it's working. The apparatus, the device, it's not like you said. If it was a big pompous structure that you got to go in, and it's a big thing that you got to do, I think the psychology in people's head is that
Mm-hmm.
this has got to be, this is something else. But because it was so simple, and it's the same thing when Jesus healed the man who was blind, he picked up a dirt, rub it in his eye, spit, spittle, you know, touching people, making them up. He
Mm-hmm.
didn't do nothing really, you know,
Nothing sophisticated.
sophisticated,
It's
like,
basic ordinary.
so it would help,
Yeah.
you know. It's very, very simple. It's right, it's really like rudimentary. It's right there. I mean, it's nothing I'm making up. Everything that is wrong with you, you are seeing it
Right in front of your eyes.
right there.
Right before your eyes.
And some people, after they've gone all over the place, and you tell them, they're like, whoa, that's exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
That's exactly where I'm having the problems. And especially with stroke and things like that, and problems with Alzheimer's and all, we can see exactly the arteries
Mm-hmm.
where they're blocked.
Yeah. Where the stroke came from, where the aneurysm occurred, where the heart attack, you know, we can see it. We see it all the time.
You see it, and it's unbelievable that people don't when they're showing it and you point it out to them, it's like, whoa, you know, all the blackness in the carotid, internal and external carotid arteries, all of it clogged up. They're like amazed, like, wow. You mean that's it? Yeah, that's it. That's why you're having the problems. You go and you show them the arteries in the base of the brain. They're all the same way. This is the reason why you're forgetting things.
Yeah.
The reason why you're having hypertension. You know, it is so. It's nothing mystifying. You know, it's so simple.
I screened someone who it is claimed to have uh, Alzheimer's just the other day. They suspect that she's at the stage of dementia.
Yeah. Well,
I screened her, and when I got to the brain, this is what triggered my wanting to talk about this today because she's a young person, not
Mhm.
old. And when I got to the brain, it was all dark.
Whoa.
It was all dark. She's fortunate to have not had an aneurysm
Is
or a
she having
stroke or something
seizures?
like that.
Wow.
And she was aware enough to recognize the black, all the black.
Mm.
So what is that? I said, that's the state of your brain.
Wow.
And so her daughter was right there.
Mhm.
She said, what does that mean? I said, it means exactly what your mom is suffering from.
Mm.
This is the reason why she's losing her memory. This is the reason why she's reacting as if she doesn't know you, because she's not getting adequate supply of blood and oxygen to her brain. The cells are dying.
Mhm.
She's forgetting everything. She doesn't even know
Mhm.
who you are, basically.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
um, I believe that I'm going to suggest it also to the company that they should devise a mechanism out of the same apparatus that comes in the form of a tube that you have to go and lay down inside.
Oh.
Get yourself screened, you know, because maybe you'll believe it then.
Psychological.
It's psychology, but you know, like you said, I studied the life of Jesus. I spent a lot of time in the military, as you know,
Mhm.
and I really used to read, and I studied also Bruce Lee's life. Well,
Mhm.
you mentioned Bruce Lee earlier, and we didn't talk about it, but I studied Bruce Lee, and I used to practice some of what he did.
Mhm.
Yeah, I used to practice it. As a matter of fact, I used to do one of his push-ups,
Oh, the finger push up.
the one with his fingers,
Mhm.
and I know I can still do it, but
Mm.
I don't think I can do it right away. I have to train myself again.
Oh yeah.
But what happened there, and which, you know, when you study these people, you get to know what makes things happen. It's not just his strength; it was his brain.
Yeah.
It was his mental state.
Mhm.
You know, he actually synchronized his brain with his body,
Yeah.
and it's really serious because you cannot do that push-up until you connect your brain with your body. See, your muscular system, your skeletal system, it all has to be in sync at once. If not,
Mhm.
you can't do it. You know, and I I used to practice it quietly by myself whenever I was alone,
Mhm.
and all these guys who were in the gym and all, you know, and all the boxers, and of course I used to box. You know, these robust guys who lift all this weight. You know, you say, you know, it's a simple push-up will determine if you have strength and mental power. And they laugh at me. Oh, they want to laugh.
Mhm.
So I take them where I go in my corner, and I would do the push-up,
Mhm.
right? And I would ask them, just do it. He said,
Mm.
that's simple. I can do that. Okay,
Mhm.
just do it. Just go ahead and do it. They couldn't.
Mhm.
They couldn't. You see, and I'm glad you brought it up because it helped me to get more into what happens to the brain. If you cannot recall your own daughter, you cannot remember your own daughter, and you're in your 60s, you're not
Mhm.
90s, or you know, many people in their 90s are still, you know, they can still remember a lot of things. You're in your 60s, early 60s, you cannot remember your daughter, then something is wrong with your brain. Your brain is just not connecting the dots. Why? You consume a lot of foods that are laden with mercury and lead and toxins, and you're laden with parasites. You have a lot of fat in your diet, so you're clogging your system up. You have to stop. You have to reverse that. You have to change that. And our daughter became very interested in the conversation because it wasn't just the mother I was looking at. The daughter was right next to her, and she was obese. And
Mm-hmm.
I told him, I says, you need to, in order for your mom to be able to overcome what is happening with her mentally, she has to apply some physical changes. We have to detoxify her, deworm her. We have to defat her body, remove all that excess fat that she has,
Mm-hmm.
just traversing her brain, lining her arteries. We have to remove all the calcification out of her system, and then she'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
She will get her memory back. She will be okay once we remove those things. But you've got to start with the diet.
Mm-hmm.
Many persons don't understand that you have to change what is causing a problem. You cannot keep doing the same thing and expect to get different results. It doesn't work. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work. So I'm looking at the time and it's going. It's already, we only have like 20 minutes more.
Oh,
So I want us to continue this topic on our next program. But I want to give persons an invitation to begin a process that can help to reverse the congestion of mercury and all these microelements out of their system. And it's simple. People buy these things every week.
mm-hmm.
Some people just they buy it every week, but they use it the wrong way. The other thing is that you have to get these produce that are not chemically laden, which means that you have to trust an organic source or grow your own. You know, two simple elements,
Mm-hmm.
three actually: cilantro,
Mm-hmm.
celery, and garlic. Another fourth one, cayenne pepper. Celery, cilantro, garlic, and cayenne pepper. If you can make a cocktail every morning with the celery, maybe half a pound of celery and maybe an ounce of garlic, 2 ounces of cilantro, and you don't want to use too much cayenne because it's gonna burn. Cayenne. I had a cocktail that was made with cayenne only yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Cayenne pepper. I just tried it out to see how it is, and cayenne will burn. Okay, cayenne pepper will burn. So if they could make like a shake or a beverage, you add some water. You want to, and I would suggest distilled water. You add some distilled water, and you make about a pint of that combination, and drink it every morning on an empty stomach every morning. Of course, you have to change your eating habits. You cannot continue doing the same thing and expect to get different results. You will have to change the consumption of the fats and the calcification, the chemicals, and you have to start eating differently. There's some foods that I cannot tell them what they need to avoid in totality, but
Mm-hmm.
screen we will know. Because what they don't understand also is that the body will tell us what you need to avoid
Yeah.
because of the condition that you have. They don't understand that,
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there are physicians who, when they see those lists that the persons will present to them, they will say, "Oh, those guys they're crazy. They are good. They are good. Don't want that report." They say that all the time. But then um, maybe we wouldn't see them for a couple of months, and then they'll be back because whatever was recommended didn't work.
Of course, they'll come back. They won't. They'll come back and say, well,
Some people don't come back because of pride.
"No, man, yeah, it's your life or death.
Hmm.
Put pride aside."
Yeah, but they'll come back, and if they follow what the body recommends, it's not us that's recommending. We only relaying to you what your body recommended.
Right. I mean,
Leave the seafood alone.
leave ram goat alone. Leave.
Leave the flesh alone. Leave it alone for a while. You don't believe? Leave it alone for a while. But then they're told also uh, that they have to consume that. to get muscle
Protein.
mass. Yeah, they gotta eat to get protein. You know, when I was boxing, and many persons don't know I did that. The
Mhm.
coach told me that in order to get your muscles, two things he said to me. He says you have to lift weights,
Mhm.
and then you have to eat protein. You have to eat your flesh, your fish, and your
Mm.
beef, and all those things. And I listened to some of it, and I did some of it because it was a coach talking to me. But I realized that it wasn't just making me sick; it was making me tired and exhausted
Mhm.
because I'm putting into my body system matter that was putrid and toxic,
Yeah.
and I didn't follow his methodology
Mhm.
um, in totality, but I paid the price for following some of it, you know.
Mhm.
But when your body reports to you that you need to avoid certain foods, you need to listen to it. If you wanna overcome what is wrong, you need to listen to it because the body knows what is best for it. If you don't believe it or not, it knows what is best for it, and it so happened that we have a device that can point it out, make you
Mhm.
aware that look, this is what's wrong with you.
Mhm.
Stay away from these things. Many of the persons who suffer with digestive disorders are mostly eating the wrong foods.
Yeah. They're eating things that they shouldn't be eating at all. Yeah. But
Only seeing half of your face, by the way.
oh, you don't see half my
When you come forward, you're blocking out
I'm
the
blocking out myself.
yeah.
I get a book, right, by Stephen Blower years ago, and what it reveals, and God made everything. He made us, and He made everything that would sustain us and keep us healthy. What they've done scientifically is look and see, because we were taught that in order to get protein, because the big thing is when you start talking about flesh, people are like, so where am I going to get my protein from?
Hmm.
What they did was this: they did the study. They studied fruits and vegetables.
Hmm.
What they found out is that their fruits have protein, they have fats, they have carbohydrates, calcium, phosphorus, iron, sodium, potassium, vitamin A, B1, B2, night. They have, and they mapped it out. They tested. For example, apples have zero point 0.2 grams of protein, zero point 0.6 grams of fat, 14.5 grams of carbohydrates, sweet, 7 milligrams of calcium, 10 milligrams of phosphorus. So I don't have time to go through everything, but all the fruits and vegetables have protein.
There's nothing, and I have evidence in front of me here. There's nothing that you could find. I've asked this question years ago. I'm on this program now since 1996.
Uh-huh.
And I've asked this question years gone by to persons who are in the field of science and medicine.
Hmm.
Find me something that doesn't have protein.
God made everything with protein, with
He
some
made
milligrams
everything.
of protein,
Everything was made complete.
with fat, with carbohydrates, with minerals. So everything has, you know, it may not have uh, a whole lot of milligrams of
Hmm.
as meat, you know, which when you're eating the meat and the flesh, you're having problems with uh, toxins and bacteria and virus and elements and worms. You have all these things you're consuming. But when you're doing fruits and vegetables, it's a cleaner source. It's a cleaner form of energy, you know.
If
So
if it is grown,
properly and that with chemicals and all that, right? Fertilizers and things like that. So the question about where am I going to get the protein? You're getting your protein from the foods that you're eating. You
Hmm.
know, you get an adequate enough of protein from the foods, the fruits and vegetables that you're eating. So you don't have, there's no need to go an animal, to eat an
Well,
animal.
they're the advocates who would promote the fact that, oh, you can't get enough protein from an apple, or
Oh, you get it, you
you
listen.
can't get enough protein from callaloo, or from, I had some ackee the other day in Jamaica,
Mm-hmm.
and this ackee was so rich, I couldn't eat all of it. It's so
Wow.
rich. You know, we we are hoodwinked to believe that we have to drink milk to get calcium.
No, no, no.
We have to
Everything,
eat beef to get protein.
everything has calcium also.
We have to eat fish to get zinc. You know,
No, no.
these are lies
Yeah,
that are that are put out so that you can buy into those things, and then you have to get medicines to get rid of what they give you,
yeah, yeah,
and then you have to be hospitalized, and then you have to go on all sorts of devices to survive, and that is where money is made, and that is where people get wealthy, and that is where you're going
people
to end up
die.
in your life, because
Yeah,
you just dig your grave with your teeth and eat yourself into your grave.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
a true thing. It's something that we do, and we need to think about it. The
yeah,
foods and the beverages that we consume has a lot to do with our survival.
yeah, yeah. You
You
know, if you want to have a cleaner source of energy, of protein, of fats and carbohydrates and calcium, you know, just like God recommended, eat the fruits and vegetables and the greens, and you'll be healthy. You'll make more muscle.
know?
Do you have more muscle than an elephant? Uh,
You have more muscles than the cow?
yeah, they don't exactly. They don't eat no meat.
No,
You know,
no.
so it's
One thing that I took a note of long ago is the temperament of the animals that consume flesh
mm-hmm.
and those that consume grass. Or
Grass. Yeah,
I study those animals too,
yeah, yeah.
and I look at the way they function.
They're very calm.
Very calm.
Yeah, yeah,
They get robust. They get
yeah.
big. They're strong. They live long lives if you don't feed them. If they
Mm-hmm.
feed themselves, they know exactly what to eat if they feel sick.
Mm-hmm.
They know exactly where to go. And you know what else?
Mm-hmm.
They stand on their legs for hours,
And they're not weary.
and they don't cry out for pain in the joints.
Yeah,
Where are
yeah.
they getting all the nutrients from?
All from the green, from the green, from the fruits and vegetables.
So,
So I really enjoy it because I've been looking for. I knew that these things were complete, but I didn't have the evidence. Now I got this by Stephen Bowler.
how you found it
Yeah,
in the juicing book.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they did, and this was studied. This was done. They tested everything, and the fruits, the vegetables, they have protein, they have everything, the vitamins and minerals that you need, protein, the carbohydrates, and so forth.
Hmm.
So it's all a fallacy in believing that you need uh, flesh to sustain your living. You don't need it.
You know, when we were the location previous, this is years now. We had a facility where we provided for persons pure juices,
Hmm.
and we made shakes and juices, and we also made healthy burgers.
Hmm.
And, they're running us down to open that again after all those years.
I mean, that's a good thing because a lot of times what you were doing was great. It's very difficult, especially when you're on the road or
It's a lot of work, Dr. Richard.
I know I figured
A
it,
lot
but
of work. It's a lot of work.
yeah.
But the thing that happened there is that there were persons who I saw with my own eyes coming there every day and changing the way they looked and behaved.
Hmm.
I saw the transformation,
Hmm.
and when you speak with them, they say, you know what? When I drink this shake or I eat this, or drink this juice or eat this burger,
Hmm.
I'm full all day. I have energy all day. I can
Hmm.
work all day. I don't feel sleepy and tired.
Hmm.
You know, and this is factual because your body will utilize the natural foods
Yeah.
faster and more than they would utilize the foods that are heavily laden with toxins and the flesh foods because they burden your organs.
Right. They have to separate, you know, the toxins from the actual uh, benefit, foods that are benefited. So the body has to go through a stage of having to. It spends energy to do that process. By the way,
We have 5 minutes more.
yeah. But the thing is, the other thing I wanted to bring out, and you brought up some very good points about the detoxing, is that what I what is stated is that if you have a very high percentage of fat on your frame in your body, all these chemicals and toxins tend to be in the fatty tissue.
They store themselves
Or
there.
themselves in there. Yeah.
hmm
What they're finding is that a lot of people who coming down with chronic diseases like diabetes and hypertension and so forth, they have a high percentage of fat.
You see that that's another area where another dangerous area where you're heading. Where people are misled into
Yeah,
believing that diabetes is a sugar problem.
right. It's not. It's what they're saying now is that these toxins are what's hindering the organ, for example, the
Function
pancreas.
of the pancreas.
Yes, yeah, so you're it's inflaming the pancreas and it's causing the pancreas to have a problem, you know, a problem. So, and it's a constant thing because the fat is there and the toxins are there, so they're constantly being
Oh yeah.
released.
Oh yeah.
So if you were to lose that fat content on your frame, your body fat, you know, you'll tend a lot of things, a lot of
Well,
chronic diseases will disappear.
there are persons, and we're running out of time. There are persons who would say we have to continue this program next week. There are persons who are saying that, oh, but I don't have any weight on me. I'm not fat. I'm a thin person, but I have diabetes. How
Hmm.
could I have diabetes and I'm not fat and I'm thin and well,
Hmm.
we weren't always thin. Number one, the damage that created the condition that caused you to be a diabetic, the damage was done already.
Or the damage is still there. You can have the pancreatic duct blocked
It's
still.
blocked. It never was addressed.
Right.
It was never addressed for the most part. You don't hear about that.
Right. Right.
See, the beautiful thing about when we screen persons, and this is what I wish that people will understand. When we screen you, we are able to determine exactly what is causing your problems, wherever the problems are.
Hmm.
We're not guessing to see, well, this is caused by this, maybe this or maybe that. You are seeing it yourself,
Right.
you know.
Yes. It's true.
And if you follow the path of
True.
removing the causes,
Hmm.
the conditions will change.
Yeah. And what I do with people like that, um, in their presence and right before, when I go to the pancreas, for example, when you pull it up, you see all the offending organisms in that area, and I run a test on them and I show them
hmm
this is affecting your pancreas. You know, the H. pylori, yeah, it's affecting your stomach and so forth, your gastrointestinal system. However, it's also affecting your pancreas.
Yes,
And I'll show it to them and see exactly, like, whoa, all that black there.
they
Yeah,
don't link it.
you know.
They
And
don't.
then, the fungus, candida, affecting it also.
Oh yes.
So every offending organism that shows up when I go to that particular area, I run a test on those things and show them, see,
hmm
all these things are attacking your pancreas.
But do they believe it? The question is, do they really believe it? I think what happens to people on there too is that when we give them that report, even though they saw it themselves, they take the report out or they take the information out there, and somebody's going to say, "Oh, don't worry, those people. They're quacks or they're this or they're that.
Yeah,
They don't know what they're doing." And we hear it all the time. So I would say to people who come with those things, are they able to help you to overcome what is wrong with you?
yeah, you want to stay in
Did you
medication
get a
mode.
diagnosis from them?
Yeah,
Were they able to pronounce what was causing your problem?
yeah,
They couldn't.
no, can't.
They couldn't.
And that's the reason why they come. a lot of people, regardless, and I making an effort now to really inquire, well, who recommend you, because we see a lot
Yes.
of patients
Yeah.
based on recommendations.
Yeah.
Somebody who've had a very similar problem
Hmm.
that they are related or burdened with, they're coming there because this person had the same thing, and they
Yes.
told me go to Dr. Haynes, go over here, and that's who helped me, and that's what they're telling me. That's the reason I'm here, because you do you know? Well, I don't know everybody. This person, the name of the person, they had the same problem, and they sent me here, and it said that you took care of it, and that's the reason I came.
I want to read something before we go, and this is profound. It has to do with the dirty secret
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned earlier. We're talking about Alzheimer's, dementia, autism, all of those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Diabetes, all that. Mercury casts an evil and soulless shadow that has engulfed so many. This toxic heavy metal becomes a part of us, and that reflects itself in our health.
Mm-hmm.
You see? But are they recognizing that? Actually, Dr. Richard, most persons who go to an institution out there does not link these heavy metals with conditions. As a matter of fact, they can't detect it. They don't really have they can only detect it if they specifically
That's true.
samples and go to the lab.
Yeah.
Okay? But the beautiful thing that we have with the device that we use is that we can see it immediately. We can address
Mm-hmm.
it. We can point it out to you, and we can also show you where else it's affecting your body,
Yeah.
where it's affecting your brain, it's affecting your pancreas, it's
Mm-hmm.
affecting your spleen. It's affecting your arteries and blood vessels. You
Mm-hmm.
don't know these things from guessing. You have to be able to detect it. And the average source out there is not looking for that.
No,
They're not looking for that.
it's true. I'm pretty good at this. I've gotten pretty good at it. I can look at the contaminants. Anytime I see anything in the levels of 0.004 or 5,
Mhm.
I know exactly, and I tell a person, you work in the interior. How do you know? The mercury levels of this, you're dealing with mercury, and yeah.
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 Okay, Dr. Richard, the time is up.
No.
We're going to continue this next week because we haven't gotten into the meat of this as yet. We just basically scratch the surface on it because a lot of persons are suffering with all sorts of ailments, including depression, anxiety. They talk about ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
attention deficit, autism, bipolar disorders, neurological disorders, epilepsy,
Mm-hmm.
numbness, twitches, spasms, hot flashes, heart palpitations, hair loss, memory loss. We talk about that. Confusion, insomnia, and for the
Mm-hmm.
men, loss of libido, even the women,
Mm-hmm.
fatigue, migraines. And one thing that we didn't mention, which I wanted to mention to you with the persons who are obese and are not burning the fats, thyroid disorder.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Many persons are suffering with thyroid disorders and
Mm-hmm.
they have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are not losing weight because of the thyroid.
Right. Or they feel mentally and physically sluggish, and they wonder what's
No
going
energy,
on.
the fatigue,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we've started something that we have to continue. And I know many persons out there who were listening um, were awakened. I know they were awakened to some things today. And maybe someone who is diagnosed with dementia or Parkinson's or one of those diseases um, who wants to get help will call us or make an appointment and come so we could get to the root cause of their conditions.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Dr. Richard, thank you for your information. Um, appreciate your presence. I know many persons have. Continue the good work. Okay. Until we meet again, may God continue to bless you
Mm-hmm.
and strengthen you so that you can continue to serve
Mm-hmm.
mankind because they need us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the same for
See you
you.
again.
Yeah.
You got any final words quickly?
Yeah. I mean, it's not complicated. I mean, like I said earlier. the food that we are basically food poisoned.
Yeah,
What we're consuming is what's making us ill. And I would repeat it many, many times over because it's a truth.
yeah.
It's
We're
a
digging
truth.
our graves with our teeth and we're eating ourselves into our graves.
Yeah.
Until next time, Dr. Richard, God bless you. So long. Thank those who are watching, the operators, and those who have allowed us to be online today. Thank you. God bless you. Good night.
Good night.